Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel, Charles Morris. And the Ukraine war has been ongoing since the start of Vladimir Putin sending his Russian army into Ukraine. And this has been ongoing for quite a long time now. We're now in the halfway of being done with 2022, and this war was expected to end sometime in May, and apparently it has not stopped in May as a lot of people predicted, or there was some kind of war specialist that took a guess that the war was going to end in May. And clearly, no, this war between Russia and Ukraine has been ongoing up to the end of July. Today is July 30th. And this has been an ongoing war. Now, I'm not sure exactly if there's a day ahead of us or behind us, but the date of me making this video is July 30th, and there's a lot going on. Now, what I wanted to do in this video today was I wanted to make a video on the predicting Putin's next targets here after he has finished his war in Ukraine with his Russian terrorist army, which they are now being defined as, because Vladimir Putin himself is a war criminal. And the Russians have, well, the Russian soldiers, they have, since the beginning of the war, they have been attacking civilians. They have been destroying building after building in Ukraine. And they have been like a total terrorist force. And pretty much just making a bunch of terrorist acts over there in Ukraine. Killing babies. Even though it sounds cruel for me to be saying that they were killing babies in there, that's pretty much what it was. And I hate to say that they've been killing babies over there, but that's what they've been doing. And they've also been killing, like, little children, just about every human being of, like, different different age groups. I can put it like that: elder, senior, older, um, adult, teen, kids. Just think about that for a second and imagine living down in Ukraine and, being experience this living nightmare that these Russian soldiers are giving the Ukrainian people. Now, there are other targets in mind of Vladimir Putin. One of them is Moldova. The Putin's next target could actually be, it may be Moldova. If not Moldova, then it could be some other part of NATO. And there's going to be a country in NATO that gets attacked next, the Russian soldiers are going to do the same thing, like they did to the people in Ukraine. Wipe out every civilian. Remember at the beginning of this uncalled war? At the beginning, Vladimir Putin has said, those who interfere will suffer a big punishment, much greater than what you've experienced in history. And that is wiping out everybody. I think that's what Vladimir Putin's goal is to achieve here. Except for the countries that isn't, on the side of NATO. I guess the Taliban and the, I can just guess that the Taliban would be Russia's friend, because the Taliban are a very, very bad group. When when our soldiers were, the U.S. soldiers were fighting the Afghanistan war, the Taliban had been like a very, very terrible group. And we wanted to get, President Biden wanted to get our soldiers out of Afghanistan. And the Taliban has been a really bad group. So, Putin is, he knows he can't win the war alone, and now I think he's on a search for, looking for allies that obviously hate NATO, and want to do whatever they can to help the Russian president with, winning Ukraine. Vladimir Putin has been asking Iran for, Iranian drones to help him in this war. This war has been ongoing for like way too long, and it's about time that as the Russian army, now defined as a terrorist force, is wiping out everything. Buildings, Ukrainian people. This war that has been ongoing for months and months and months, it's predicted that this could end throughout the whole entire year. Like, up to, this war could be ongoing up until 2023. Never mind the dog barking in the background. Uh, the only thing that I could think of right now is assassinating Vladimir Putin. That somebody that has known for him to be a war criminal since the beginning of this war. The one major thing that should really be focused on is, either sending Vladimir Putin to his grave. This monster that he was defined as when a little kid said this, and he said, he has said that Putin's a monster. And there's one reason why he said this, because Vladimir Putin is having his army attacking little children. Parents are grieved over the loss of their children, and these Ukrainians are heartbroken by this war. And so now, it's almost like now that this war is now, it has been ongoing. It has been ongoing, and Putin will not stop until he has conquered all of Ukraine. Putin doesn't stop. Putin doesn't rest. Putin will not stop until he has his way, and that is having that war victory over Ukraine. till every Ukrainian is killed, including Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky. So Putin's next targets could end up being Moldova, at one point in Moldova, some part of Moldova, there's a land called Transnistria. And back in history, there have been troops, Moldovan troops, that have been fighting Russian troops in the past. So it would be no surprise that it wouldn't be a surprise that Putin's next target would probably be Moldova, or for other parts of NATO in Europe, or in or ultimately come after the US. Those are the next targets that I could think of right now. So, yeah. I could have just even picture in my head right now what would have happened when a Russian invasion starts, or if it isn't Russia, then what about a Chinese invasion? Okay, I couldn't think of what group that hates the United States so much right now other than China. Because there are territories that the U.S. has in other countries. They've been wanting to, protect land, and that is like, no, U.S. territory. Like protecting seas and parts of China, and helping Hong Kong, and all this other U.S. territories. I think what China's really trying to tell us at this point is, like, telling the U.S. that they have to stop with, giving their people giving their people freedom, like, in Hong Kong and Taiwan and other places, they have like different laws, like different freedoms. China is a communist country, and China is a bit different. And what's worse is China also has a Chinese social credit system where if you don't keep your... if you do not keep your social credit score at a certain number, you would be labeled as a bad person to the government, and you wouldn't be able to live as like a free human being over there in China. And I think the message that China really giving us right now is that, hey, you want to interfere with what we're doing and that stuff, and we're going to come after you. It's quite... I could at least expect some kind of either Russian or Chinese invasion and trying to wipe us all out. And that is, it's pretty scary to think of. I couldn't imagine going to bed, like, one day, and then, like, out in the middle of the night, like, just about, like, 2 a.m. or something like that, where you've got, like, warplanes by either Russia or China that is literally, like, trying to bomb the place because of our interfering with their plans and all of this other stuff. And I just could not if China helped with Russia achieving its goal, or if Russia got terrorist countries involved with what is going on, it would be like, there could be like one bloody mess, one bloody fight, and it would, ultimately it would not even end well. And this is, I would personally want to be aware of, and I think other people also should too, because if our future gets taken away from us by these countries and that stuff, then there won't be anything to actually, we would actually have no lives to live. And the end of the ticking time bomb would be set off, and there would be then it'd be like our time would be up, and nobody could continue to go on with their daily lives and continue to enjoy going to work. There won't be any of that. there just would be no, life if it gets taken away by these, um, by either the Chinese or the Russian army. There just wouldn't. But, that's down the road from now. I don't know how soon China would actually want to, start coming after the U.S. because of, you know what I mean. If something isn't done to actually stop these countries from coming after the U.S. in the future, when these wars are, you know, when these wars have actually ended and these people like President Xi and Vladimir Putin still hold their power, then it'd be like we just wouldn't have, we just wouldn't be able to be having life anymore. And it'd be just like totally scary. The Russian army, especially Vladimir Putin, is going to have a price to pay. A real big price. And it would be with his life. If these countries like China and Russia think that they can mess with the U.S., they've got another thing coming to them. This is not going to end well for Russia or China. Who, what do they think? That they can just come in here and just start, blowing up? Like, for some, some reason, what would give them a right to just start, coming into the U.S. and starting to just blow up our people because we're trying to, help protect people? I will not. I would not appreciate having my life taken away from me by these terrorist groups, even if they are considered terrorist group, China, Russia, or any other military force that kills civilians. And once the Ukraine war is done in Russia, once the Ukraine war is done by the Russian army, or either the Ukrainians win this war, I hope that these Russian terrorist force won't have anything to go on after that if they all fall victims to the Ukrainian army. The Ukraine people, they deserve to not have their land taken away from them. Their land is their land. It's not for the Russians. And like Vladimir Putin said at the beginning of the war, that he has a belief that Ukraine was created for Russia, which is not true. And China is in their invasion with Taiwan now, and yeah, things could get ugly in the future, and it would just not end well at all. In the future, it's gonna get, I would assume it would get much uglier than it has been now. And we just have to see what time actually tells us. Hopefully Ukraine wins this war. And hopefully Taiwan could win theirs and defeat every single Chinese soldier